welcome back. It's still Business Morning here on Channels Television. We head to the global space now to hear what President Donald Trump has done again.
Oh, President.
Will's favorite figure in the whole wide world.
Of course. I just love Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. You know, he always blows his trumpet. He can't stay without blowing his trumpet. And, you know, now he has taken a hit on Brazil. Oh, my goodness. Brazil is not taking it.
And I'm sure you've seen the news about our B1, B2 visa.
Oh, yes.
You know, but we have to let everyone know that Nigeria started that circle.
Of course.
So this is just,
retaliation.
which is a normal global policy. You started it, even though you reversed it. They also had to do theirs. So
yes.
Let's not.
But maybe they should wait now. That okay, now fine. It's 3 months now with the pricing also, you know, be tapered down to match the duration.
I doubt that. Did you taper your price when you did it to the U.S.?
Oh, well, I wasn't there
okay. All right.
But you see, President Donald Trump has confirmed that a 50% tariff on copper imports will take effect August the 1st following a national security assessment. Trump, who made this known on Truth Social, called copper critical to defense and tech infrastructure, including missiles and data centers. Copper prices rose 2.62% after the announcement, building on Tuesday's 13% surge, the biggest one-day jump since 1989. Now, Brazil's President Lula says his country will retaliate after U.S. President Trump imposed a 50% tariff on Brazilian imports starting August the 1st. Trump cited trade imbalances and Brazil's prosecution of Jair Bolsonaro. Lula called the move political and said Brazil will respond under its new reciprocity law. The Brazilian real fell over 2% on the news. U.S. Trade Center shows that $7.4 billion surplus with Brazil in 2024, despite Trump's claims. Now, Trump hosts 5 African leaders, pushes trade to over 3% at the D.C. summit in Washington with leaders of Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, and Senegal, nations facing 10% U.S. tariffs. During a televised White House lunch, the African leaders praised Trump for his peace efforts in Africa and urged American investments in resources and tech projects. The summit centers on Trump's trade, not aid strategy as the U.S. shifts from traditional development support to commercial partnerships under its America First policy. The European Union remains in limbo as the deadline for a trade deal with the U.S. passes without an agreement. President Donald Trump had initially set July the 9th as the deadline to avoid the reciprocal tariffs, but talks continue. Trump said this week a deal or letter could be sent in 2 days, though none has been issued to the EU yet, unlike other countries that have received new tariff notices. Now we go to the UK now, where the UK government has dropped plans to introduce zonal energy pricing, which would have seen higher electricity costs in the south compared to Scotland. Energy Secretary Edie Miliband said the country will maintain a single national wholesale price and reform the existing system to make electricity fairer and more secure. Advocates claim zonal pricing could cut grid costs, but critics warned it would create a postcode lottery for energy bills. Still staying in the UK, the FTSE 100 surged to a new record high of 8,947.84 points on Wednesday, up 0.9% as investors brushed off trade war concerns. Mining stocks led gains despite President Trump's fresh round of tariffs, including a 50% duty on copper imports and penalties on Brazil. Traders appear unfazed by the global recession risks. Now we check in with Bitcoin, which has soared to a record high of $112,000 late on Wednesday, fueled by renewed institutional interest and a surge in risk appetite. This marks a near 20% gain for Bitcoin so far this year, despite lingering macroeconomic uncertainty and geopolitical tensions. Analysts attribute the rally to growing confidence among traditional financial institutions, which have deepened their exposure to digital assets in recent months. The rally comes amid broader strength across the crypto markets and increased speculation that U.S. regulators may further ease restrictions on crypto-related financial products in the second half of the year. Let's head to Asia now. The Bank of Korea held its rate at 2.5% on Thursday, citing rapidly rising sold home prices and household debts. Housing costs jumped 19% in June year-on-year, prompting new mortgage curbs. The Bank of Korea said financial stability remains a priority despite growth concerns. Rate cuts may come in August and November if cooling measures work, according to Goldman Sachs and Lombard Odier. Now, shares of WK Kellogg surged over 56% after reports that chocolate giant Ferrero is in talks to buy the breakfast cereal maker in a $3 billion deal. The move would give Ferrero, known for Kinder and Rocher, a major foothold in the U.S. cereal market with brands like Fruit Loops and Rice Krispies. The deal could be announced this week, according to reports from WSJ and FTSE Week. Kellogg, a spin-off from Kellanova in 2023, and has been struggling with debt and shifting consumer trends. Now, Linda Yaccarino has resigned as CEO of X, the social platform owned by Elon Musk, after 2 years in the role. Her exit comes amid controversy over X's AI tool, Grok, and ongoing advertiser concerns. Yaccarino thanked Musk in a post, saying she was grateful for the chance to transform X into the everything app. Hired in 2023 to rebuild ties with advertisers, she was seen as by many as CEO in name only, with Musk retaining day-to-day control. Analysts say a departure was inevitable as Musk continued to dominate X strategy and public image. Now, if you live in the UK and you want to travel, prices for all-inclusive family holidays from the UK have surged, with Cyprus up 23% and UAE trips rising 26%, according to travel supermarket data. Spain, Greece, Turkey, UAE, and Portugal, the most searched destinations, all saw prices increases. In contrast, Italy and Tunisia, small declines. Agents say travelers are now opting for shorter stays or midweek travel to save costs. And those are the highlights that we have. But before we end that, Britain has just pulled the plug on its plan for regional zonal electricity pricing, which I mentioned earlier. We're just seeing that affecting household costs, but maybe we'll have that discussion with Juliana when she's feeling much better, because today was supposed to be that discussion, but we couldn't have that. We know that electricity is one of the major factors that countries, businesses have to consider, the cost that, the input a business have to put into consider before they give out the overall pricing. And households these days, with inflation, that's already biting. And we're already seeing that here in Nigeria, where people, even with the money, they can't even get electricity because, they can't even get the meters that they need in the country.
Yeah. Well, that was a conversation we had yesterday, even though in Nigeria, the meter manufacturer that I had on the program yesterday says, well, they have manufactured meters. There are meters there, but I guess somewhere in the bureaucracy and the paperwork and documentation, all of that is deterring the distribution, even though the federal government has some applaudable policies that are supposed to help the distribution of meters, out there, but it seems there are some things, that actually exactly.
Okay.
But anyway, this is the UK, and remember there was a time that they also had to put a cap on energy pricing and all of that.
But right now they say it's just going to be, they want to do that regional zonal pricing, that each region will have their own prices. But right now they say, I think we just have to stick with one uniform price, and then we'll see how that goes.
Well, at least they have a system there that considers the reality.
Okay.